Little Caesars. All hail
Pizza Pizza.
When times are tough, an orange box is sometimes all you need. When times are good, sometimes what you need is that orange box. In a crowd of phony Italian accents, shouts of Mamma Mia, cutting pizza with scissors like in Rome, and claims of special tomato sauce. Honesty is always the best policy, no less special to some. While the competition are telling tall tales of superior ingredients, Little Caesars pulls you aside, a whisper in your ear, a promise of cheese and pepperoni inside the crust, a side of crazy bread, all for a fraction of the price. How did they do that for the money, you wonder? One rumor has it, to keep the cost down, they used Little Caesars. Mike and Marian Ilitch opened Little Caesars Pizza Treat in 1959 in Garden City, Michigan. The original location sold not only pizza in treat form, but also chicken, fish, shrimp, hot dogs, and more. Mike had recently finished playing minor league baseball, having played 4 seasons from 1952 to 1955 for the Detroit Tigers, occupying second and third base. Attention would now be focused on Little Caesars Pizza Treat. The menu would soon be streamlined, with more emphasis on pizza, dropping many of the original menu items. The apostrophe in Caesars would go, along with the words Pizza Treat. Little Caesars it was, a name derived from Marian's nickname for Mike. Little Caesar didn't stop at third base. In 1962, Little Caesars opened its first franchise in Warren, Michigan, invading the city of Detroit in 1967, and by 1969, Little Caesars had opened 50 locations. At this point, expansion would cross the border into Canada. The company, like many at the time, was benefiting from an early franchise system, which a lot of businesses that are now household names adopted at a similar time. Detroit and the local community would be a source of pride for the Ilitch family from the very beginning of Little Caesars' journey. Even during the hardest times for Detroit, when many businesses were leaving the city, Little Caesars kept investing. The company built its headquarters in the downtown Fox Theatre building. Later, a huge 8-story development was planned. Detroit clearly mattered to the Ilitches, with Little Caesars being stewarded by more conscious-minded management would become more evident when civil rights champion Rosa Parks, a Detroit resident for many years, found herself needing a place to stay. Mike Ilitch had read about the predicament in the local newspaper. He offered to pay Rosa Parks rent indefinitely, something that wasn't known until 2014, 9 years after Rosa Parks had died. It was made public not by the Ilitches, but by Detroit native and federal judge Damon Keith, when he showed a copy of a check from 1994 for the amount of $2,000 from Little Caesars Enterprises to Riverfront Apartments. The fact that this was not divulged publicly for 20 years, and even then by a third party, is not something that you will hear about very often. This surely would have been 20 years of marketing gold that was simply written off. Modern corporations today would be strutting around the internet telling you how great they were before the check had cleared. Little Caesars showed early attention toward cost and value. One way of doing this is to put more time and effort into your supply chain. In a fast food market, when it comes to trying to maneuver over the cost of produce, there isn't always much room. To combat this, the Ilitches purchased a mushroom farm. They called it Little Caesars Mushroom Farms. Now, with more room to maneuver, the price and quality could be controlled to a greater extent. This venture would expand over time and become a full-service distribution company called Blue Line Food Service Distribution. A pepperoni farm would complete the dream. Creating your own supply chain, or at least having a sizable control of it, can have downsides. A common issue that Little Caesars found out was that franchisees can become unhappy at the restrictions placed upon them to buy produce from one central supplier. In this case, a supplier owned by the franchisor itself. Quality measures are one thing, but if franchisees feel they can't control their costs and that the franchisor is making what can seem like an additional profit on produce, then things can get sour very quickly. Little Caesars did allegedly settle a legal dispute along these lines in the early 2000s. In 1979, Little Caesars coined one of the most successful advertising slogans of all time. Like most things of this nature, the success came from its simplicity. If there is a more simple marketing phrase than
Pizza Pizza,
then it would have to contain a single word. This came about when Little Caesars launched a promotion for 2 pizzas for the price of 1. Hugely successful, even to this day.
Pizza Pizza.
is synonymous with Little Caesars. Unless you live in Canada, that is, where there was already a rather large national pizza chain named Pizza Pizza. As a result, Little Caesars is forbidden from using the phrase for advertising in Canada. To be fair, this must have been annoying, given that a rival pizza chain created an incredibly catchy advertising slogan using your company name to make everyone think of them when they hear your name said. This was trolling 1970s style and a stroke of genius, but Pizza Pizza, the company, had one more card to play. Pizza Pizza told the teacher. The authorities told Little Caesars it cannot say pizza twice in quick succession. In Canada, you might hear Canadian adverts for Little Caesars with phrases like two pizzas or quality quality, both of which are terrible. But a compromise was needed to avert a North American pizza turf war with untold casualties. Little Caesars slipped in the Hot and Ready promotion in 1997. This was hugely successful for the company. The concept being that rather than ordering a pizza in the traditional way, where it would be made to order, but rather a continuous stock of pizza would be made in store and be ready to go at busy times. This means that costs can be reduced and passed on to the customer, as long as they don't have special requirements. The pizza, a good sized pizza, could be sold for as little as $5, around a third of the price that many rivals can charge. Little Caesars Crazy Bread was and still is popular, extremely popular. A successful product isn't solely about whether it is good on its own, but how well it fits within your market. The same product that is priced $1 more could be a flop instead of a national success. Little Caesars is the third largest pizza chain by sales in the US, raking in $3.81 billion in 2019, more than 3 times the amount generated in 2008, which is a significant increase, growing pretty much year on year during that time, a sign that Little Caesars might have its formula down. So what does Little Caesars get right? Understanding the market. Little Caesars has always been value focused, a great option for young families and college students. With this brings a level of sentiment attached. If you are raising a young family and you need to get more bang for your buck on the way home from work, you can't really go wrong with Little Caesars. Unless your kids are mini review bras, I doubt they will be able to tell the difference, or how much you spent. Equally, Little Caesars is coming in pretty handy for students, whether it is late nights with friends, leftover morning pizza, or fueling the night when you're studying, or supposed to be studying. Little Caesars is hard to beat for price and convenience, and along the way, people are going to remember that. Comparing Little Caesars to other sectors. While pizza that is affordable for all budgets has been commonplace for a long time, this has usually been the business model for buying pizza by the slice that you would see in a lot of major cities around the world, New York being a good example of this. But having a product that's made slightly ahead of time puts Little Caesars more into the realm of fast food. The focus on price and value also suggests this. Little Caesars is bridging a gap between ordering a pizza like you would at any of the big chain rivals such as Domino's, Pizza Hut or Papa John's, however at a lower price point, with more convenience. Hot and Ready is little different to how most fast food burger chains operate. A Big Mac is usually ready to go rather than made to order at busy times. Little Caesars taps into this with a similar system for peak hours, which gives it a competitive edge in the market. Working with partnerships. Doing a deal with Kmart was a good example of Little Caesars looking at ways to expand the company's presence. This would see Little Caesars being available inside Kmart stores. More recently, a deal with DoorDash is a move with the current trend of delivery apps being incorporated. For Little Caesars, this is a pivotal step. Now value needs to be incorporated with a third party. Little Caesars' focus on speed could work to its advantage if the same speed of product delivery time can be extended from store to door, while maintaining the value stroke price that Little Caesars is known for. It will be interesting to see what impact this has on sales in the future, but in the short term, it is a worthwhile experiment at fairly low risk. Delivery is all the rage right now. Automation. Little Caesars introduced the Pizza Portal a few years ago, which allows for customers to order through the Little Caesars app and collect in-store via a kind of heated locker that you can either scan with a QR code or with a PIN number. This is a great way to avoid a queue, unless everyone was doing the same thing as you, of course. But also for those that choose or are more comfortable with not having to go through the ordering process face to face. It's a great option for some that can work well. Collecting a package that smells like a pizza is better than collecting a package that doesn't. 2 words that can only mean one thing.
Pizza.
Depending on which side of the border you're on might depend on where that pizza comes from. A Friday night family meal with smiles as large as the pizza, more than enough crazy bread to go around. A short break from studying, or not, or after a night on the town. But after all the pizza, there might not be much room. All things Little Caesars. Let me know. Thanks for watching.